I'm going to show you how to cook lamb, and we're going to do a garnish with it. We're going to have some spinach, fennel, sauteed potatoes, and I'm going to kick off with a very simple onion confit dish. Onion, obviously, at the base of most savoury dishes. So, take off at least one of the outer layers, like so. I'm doing it so that the root will hold everything together. Use a chef's knife with a thick heel, and then it's just a simple case of slicing like that. And then finally, what I'm going to do with these is just lay them across here. And all we'll do is just add a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to start crying in a minute. I'm battling. Actually, the big tip is stand away when you're chopping, and then the fumes will go up and won't go in your eye. In the oven. So this is the rump. If you think about it, the legs would go here and the saddle along here. We're just going to take the fillets out and then roast them off. So I'm just going to cut down the middle and take the outer layer of fat off, like that. Run the knife along and just go around the other side as well. And that's the fillet. So if I just use a boning knife, and I'm going to cut round the various bones within here, and this should just slide off quite neatly. That's one side, although there's quite a lot of excess in there which we're not going to use for this dish, but we will use. You know, it can be minced and made into koftas. Actually, it stews very nicely. The fillet is what I'm looking for. That's one fillet. Second one is here. A little bit of olive oil. I'm going to put these in the same pan as the onions, and then we'll just leave them. But they'll cook off for 25 minutes with a 5-minute rest. Got our onions there, which are doing quite nicely. Lamb will just go next to them over here. And those will go back in. I'm just going to use the onion as a bit of garnish, as I said earlier on. I'm now going to just deal with the garnish, which is going to be the spinach, the fennel and the potatoes, seeing as the onion is already in. I'm just going to throw, in fact I need to turn this up as high as I possibly can, just so that when I put the onions in, they'll sizzle, which is quite important. Here we go. Lovely. Exactly what I wanted. I'm going to sling the garlic in now at that high heat. And then I'm going to add the spinach, which are just leaves which have been washed. Certainly with the larger leaves, you have to take the much thicker root out. But all I'm doing here is just sweating these leaves down, and they will cook, you know, in about 30 seconds that will be ready. And then all you need to do is press the moisture out, lightly season, and then that's that job done. Right, as far as I'm concerned, that's ready for the garnish, so that can go. Let's talk about potatoes. What we've done here is we've taken a baby new potato, we've cut them into thick slices, parboiled them in boiling water for about 2 or 3 minutes, and all I'm going to do now, just again turn that up to as high a heat as I can, and I'm just going to pan fry these to put a little bit of colour on them. And I reckon probably about 2 minutes each side. They're already cooked, so we're just making them go lovely and crispy and putting a bit of colour on them. So those have been gently sautéing off for probably about, actually a bit longer, about 3 minutes. But I think they're ready now, so I'm just going to finish them off in the pan, or let them finish themselves off in the pan, and then I'll probably just pat them with a bit of kitchen towel. So that comes off. Now I want to pay a bit of attention to the fennel. This is a very simple way of cooking it. So in a lightly greased pan, I just want to make sure that all these fennel have a light coating of oil on each side, because I want to stick things to the fennel, and this is the best way of achieving that. The first thing is a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm also going to add some fennel seeds and a pinch of sugar on each side, and then do the same on the other side. As you can see, there's already a bit of colour on there. So that's looking lovely. I'm very happy with that. I'm actually just going to add a tiny bit of orange juice. Now this will sizzle up a bit. So the natural sugars in the orange juice and the sugar that we put on will begin to caramelise, and I'm just going to shove those in the oven, and we're just going to leave them for about 10-12 minutes. I'm going to take the lamb out the oven. We've also got the fennel and the onion in there, so they're all coming out. Now, the important thing with the lamb is we need to let it rest. I'm sure you all know this, but anything that comes out the oven, you don't carve it or eat it straight away. It just needs a bit of time to rest. So come back in 5 minutes and we'll carve and then plate up. Right, so that's had a good old rest now. So I'm going to carve that into, I'm going to do 3 tranches, I think, like that. So we're going to serve them like that. And I'm also going to start off with the fennel as the base, like so. Then we've got our potatoes. A little touch of the spinach. And whilst I'm doing that, I've made a chicken reduction. So it was stock, which I've just reduced down. And I'm just going to put that on because I'm going to finish the dish off with that. The spinach goes on here, on top, like that. Then we have the lamb, like so. I was going to put some herbs on the top, but actually I think onion's going to be a bit nicer. So it's a bit like that, really. It's quite a big dish, actually. And then the final bit of garnish will be the sauce. And there we have rump of lamb with fennel, sauté potato, spinach and an onion confit.